Hi, this is Jessie with designsbychance.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I'm glad you have joined me on my video today. Today we are going to be continuing to play with the Tasteful Touches stamp set, and this is the card that we're going to be creating. So if you want to craft with me today, you're going to need a few things. First thing you're going to need is the Tasteful Touches stamp set, shown here. You're also going to need the Tasteful Labels die set. Looks like this right here. You're going to need the Night of Navy ink pad. You're also going to need some Night of Navy cardstock, some Whisper White cardstock, the In Good Taste Designer Series paper, and then you're also going to need, last but not least, some of the In Good Taste wooden elements to use to finish off your card. So if you have all of those things ready and available, go ahead and grab them and we can get crafting. If not, go ahead and pause the video right here, grab them, and then come back and join me. Okay, so let's get started. The first thing we're going to need is some Night of Navy cardstock for our card base. So you're going to cut your card base to 5.5 by 8.5, and then we're going to fold it in half to make our card base of 4.25 by 5.5 inches. We're going to go ahead and set that off to the side. You're also going to need to then cut your Designer Series paper so that you have a top piece measuring at 4 by 5.25. I chose this Designer Series paper because it's kind of busy and it's really all we need to have that beautiful background. On the opposite side, there's this beautiful wood grain as well. So choose whatever piece you feel is best. I'm going to go ahead and adhere that to our background right now and let it sit and dry. I'm using my Tombow Mono adhesive. It gives us just a little bit of wriggle room because it is so forgiving. Because it is so forgiving. Let me get another bottle. Looks like that one's empty. There we go. There's some glue for us. So I'm going to go ahead and place this on my card. Our card is going to open top to bottom like this. So you want to make sure that you orient it in a way that looks good. There's my background. I'm going to set that aside to dry. And now I'm going to do some stamping. So the stamping that we're going to do today is these beautiful flowers right here. So you're going to need a scratch piece of paper, Whisper White. I chose this one here. And for measurement's sake, you need one that's going to measure at least 4 inches by 2.5 inches. That will allow you to get both of your flowers out of the same piece of cardstock if you have that kind of a scrap available. So I'm going to go ahead and ink this up in Night of Navy. And I'm going to stamp my first flower. Good, good. And my next one. I'm going to turn it just a little bit so I can get both of them on here. Perfect. So we're not going to be able to cut these out with a die because there is no die to match this, so we're going to do a little bit of fussy cutting. The good news is these flowers are pretty simple, so the fussy cutting isn't going to take very long. So we are going to cut both of them real quick, like so. And one of the other things that you could do with this card, I'm only using the 2 images, but if you wanted to create some extra dimension, you could certainly stamp a couple more and raise them up. So as you're fussy cutting, the best way to do this is to actually turn the paper as opposed to turning your scissors. That'll help you get the smoothest cut as you go around the image. And you can kind of apply this to any image that you're fussy cutting. I know a lot of people don't like fussy cutting because it can be tedious. But I really like it. I find it relaxing, and it gives you so many more options when you're okay with fussy cutting, and as opposed to just always having the dies available to you. One of my favorite things to do is fussy cut images out of designer paper and use those as elements on my cards. So as you can see, this is not taking very long at all. We'll have both of them cut in no time, like so. There we go. And once we get done cutting these, we are going to stamp our sentiment onto another piece that we do have the die cut for. So this is our last one that we need. Go around like this. Again, turning the paper like so. Being careful not to turn our scissors so we get a smooth cut. It'll look just like a die cut it out. Nobody will ever know the difference. And something that also helps you with fussy cutting to make things a little more forgiving so that it doesn't have to be exact is to leave a little bit of a white border so that you're not cutting exactly along the outside lines. Your border doesn't have to be the exact all the way around it, but as long as you have a little bit of a border, it looks like it's supposed to be there, and nobody's going to know the difference on if you were a little wide or you did an extra turn where you weren't supposed to do an extra turn. It'll just all blend in with the eye. So there we go. And there's our two flowers. So now our next piece that we need, we're going to be using Designer Series paper, and we're going to do a die cut. And I chose to use this really light wood grain shade. On the opposite, it has this nice brick as well, so you can choose again either one that you would like. And for this one, the die that you're going to use from the Tasteful label set is this label die right here. So in order to make sure you have enough to cut with, you're going to need a Designer Series piece of paper that is at least 4 inches by 2 inches in order to get this die out. And we are going to use the stamp sentiment that says, "The good things in life are better with you." So go ahead and mount that on your block, and we're going to ink it up. And remember, when you're inking, just tap, tap, tap lightly. You don't have to press very hard because there's plenty of ink in your ink pad, and you won't get an extra halo around your stamp when you're pressing. And then when you go to do your sentiment, go straight down like so and straight up. You don't want to rock it, just go straight down and straight up, and you'll get a beautiful impression just like that. So now we can take this, because we gave our background a little time to dry. We can take this and adhere our sentiment piece first, because we're going to tuck everything in behind it to make it look how we want to and have it kind of come up off the page a little bit. So I want to show you that I used the Tombow Mono Glue, and it's liquid glue, but I didn't put it all the way to the edges on purpose, because this is where I'm going to tuck the outside pieces, the flowers and the wooden accent pieces. So I have all my glue kind of right in the middle of this piece here as it's sitting down. Now I'm going to take and tuck my flowers on the edges, making sure that I have the glue on the edges of the flower, just the opposite as I did with the sentiment. I want the edges to be glued. So I'm going to tuck it underneath just like this and get it just how I want it, like so. And that's going to be my base flower. And then for the second piece, I can either have it lay flat against it, like this. I can have it over the top, I can tuck it underneath, or I can also use dimensionals to have it pop up a little bit. So I think on this one, I'm still going to tuck it underneath the piece like that, but I am going to pop it up so it's almost as if it's coming up off of the paper. So to do that, I'm going to move this up a little bit. I'm going to put my glue on the flat piece that's going to actually tuck under the sentiment piece, but I'm also going to put my dimensionals on the upper half of the flower, and that'll get it to raise from the top piece. So I'm going to go ahead and take these off. The back ends for the dimensionals. And I want to be careful when I'm placing this down, because I don't want the dimensionals to adhere and touch at the same time as the liquid glue, because otherwise I won't be able to maneuver it around. So I'm curling it up just a little bit so that the liquid glue will be down and adhering first. So I'm going to tuck this underneath, kind of get it right where I want it with the other flower. I think that looks good. So I'm going to go ahead and press that, and then I'm going to roll it down so that the dimensionals adhere as well. Isn't that pretty how it comes up? It almost looks like it's popping out at you. I really like that. And so now I can press this part of it down with the sentiment, making it lay flat again. Perfect. Okay, so the last thing that we need to do is add our wooden elements. And on our sample card that I showed you, this one here, I use these leaf elements here. I don't have any more of these ones that look kind of like fern, but I am going to use these other elements that come in this set and have a little bit of a different look. So I'm going to use 2 of the smaller leaves, I think, and have them sticking out of the edges like that, like so. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. So again, get my liquid glue, just put a little bit on there because I don't want it oozing out, because it does have holes on these elements and you don't need much. There we go. And I'm actually going to dab some of this off because this is quite a bit. So I'm just going to dab it on my scratch paper right there to get some of it off so that it won't ooze quite so much. And this will dry clear, so that's also a benefit of using the mono adhesive. Any of the extra isn't going to show. So again, I did tuck that under my sentiment piece there, so it looks like it's coming out from the flower. And I'm going to do the same thing with this element, oops, on the other side. Get some glue on there. I'm going to slide it right in there to look as like it's a piece of the flower. But I love with this monochromatic type card how this little pop of color does so much for it. So again, placing it right underneath the sentiment piece right there, pressing down, and we're good. Now if I wanted to, see how this piece is still up because I didn't get that glue over there, I could absolutely go in here and add that glue to tack it down, which I'm doing because I don't want it flying up when it gets delivered to its new owner. And that takes care of the top of my card. Isn't that pretty? But I want to do one more thing. I want to decorate the inside of it because this card, with it having such a dark background, it isn't capable of writing on unless you're using like a glitter pen or an iridescent pen. But say we just wanted to do a regular card and use a regular pen, we're going to need to put an inside. So this piece here measures at 5.5 by 4, and we're going to go ahead and put this on the inside. But before I do that, I want to stamp it so that it carries the design from the outside of the card to the inside and makes it look like it's all coordinating. So again, I'm going to use my flower stamp, and I'm going to stamp it right on the bottom on the edges. So I'm going to do it right here, and it looks fine just like that, but I think I'm going to do the other side too. And right there. Very nice. So with that, we can go ahead and add our glue. And stick that down on the inside of our card. Like so. And we have a beautiful note card both outside and in. And if we wanted to take it one step further, we could go ahead and stamp our envelope and have a whole coordinated set just like this. How fun would that be, receiving that in the mail? I think I would absolutely love it. So this is our 10-minute card for the day with envelope. I hope you guys enjoyed it. All of the supplies that were used in today's video are going to be linked down below in the video description if you would like more information. Please leave me a comment. You can also visit my website at designsbychance.com. And if you enjoyed today's video, please hit like, subscribe, and then hit the notification button to know when a new video has been loaded to my channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye!